Yeah, the pickup and the volume control and your pick attack and your fingers, just it makes the amp sound wonderful.
Well, it's great, and I think the amps look great, man. I mean, you know, usually when you're using full stacks on stage, they're 10 feet taller than you, and they're shooting into the mics, and they're making the mixing guy's life miserable. He's got to shut down the mic when you're not singing. But this, you know, if I stand up, they're below, they hit me right in the ass, which is, you know, I can block a lot of that tone that's going to kill my microphone. But they're perfect, the 212s and the 412s. And
yeah, it's a 3/4 stack, we like to call it, and it's just, it's a great configuration.
Well, it's a 3/4 stack that sounds like a 9.5 stack.
Exactly. So, and yours go to 11, so.
They go to 11. Can we zero in on that? The knob on my guitar goes to 11 because, you know,
it's one more.
An extra knot. It's one more.
It's one more.
You know, and it really does tell everybody that when you built the electronics, you put another.
Yeah, we just had the the pot go a little further.
Yeah, it goes a little further.
It goes to 11.
And I can show you that if you open this to 10. And I'll go to 11.
It goes one more.
There's 10.
There's 11. All right, you got a reputation for killer tone. What did you think when you first plugged into the Budda?
You know, I'll tell you the truth. I was at the NAMM show in Anaheim, January, and Dean Zielinski, from Dean Guitars, said to me, "Look, there's an amp right behind us called Budda, and the engineer wants you to come over and try him." He says, "Don't sign anything, just go play him." And I went on and played him on the floor, and we got a lot of complaints. It was only a 30 watt,
True.
And I was sort of like dumbfounded that, you just plug in. Because it reminded me when I first started, I first started using these PA heads, these Coliseum PA heads. And I didn't use any pedals or nothing. It just plugged straight in. But the mic input distorted the master and so on. And I don't know what you did. I haven't looked inside this amp yet. See what the hell's in there. It could be a Lamborghini, a Countach, who knows what's inside that. But I went back the next day, 2 days in a row at the NAMM show, and they got mad at me again for turning up. And
well, it's always good when we get noise complaints because generally it's somebody of note in the booth attracting a lot of attention. And
well, Scott was standing there laughing like a hyena because he was thrilled. He was getting some action at the booth. And but the tone of the amp. First of all, you have to start. You know what it reminds me of? Like when you build a house, right? You can put all the beautiful decorations you want in the house, but if the foundation of that house is corrupt, you can put $1 million worth of antiques in your den,
right?
And it's going to crash because the foundation is corrupt. These amps are not corrupt. They start off. If you put in one iota of effort, the amp is going to do whatever you want. Yeah. Also, it's crystal clean. You don't know what that does for a guitar player, not to have to, step right off. Depend on the mixing guy out there to start changing. No,
and just so everybody knows, there's nothing on there but a delay pedal. It's all amp.
It's just one delay.
Just a delay pedal.
And the great thing about the amp is, you notice the volume master is white.
Yeah.
So I can see it. And
we did those just for you.
And it's not 19 channels. It's just push-pull.
Right.
But I don't even need to use the clean. It's just leave it on the one thing, and you did a really great job, Jeffrey.
Thank you, man.
Seriously.
Thank you very much.
I've read your columns in the magazines, but I didn't realize that you actually knew what you were talking about.
Well, I can sling a good column every month.
Well, I'm telling you, I found out some stuff reading your stuff. First of all, you know, it's not a secret. You know, I used to play Marshall amps. It's not, you know, it's not a big military secret. And the thing is that a lot of people don't realize this, that if you start out with a 100-watt head and you play on the road and you play for like a couple of weeks or a month, it's not a 100-watt head anymore. Those tubes start to depreciate in their wattage, you know. You have to change them. And the thing is, with every time I play this amp, and I put it, when you came over to the house and we put them up in the garage and I blasted, you know, a cement room, I put it really through, you know, a bigger test than I'm doing now. And it doesn't matter. It's just, the thing just, you turn it on and it works. And that, my biggest peeve when we go on stage, it's like I'm real nervous every night before we go on. Until, you know,
So you hit the first note.
I got to hear the thing open up. Not just like, I want to hear that. I want to hear that, and then I want to hear. And then I can take a deep breath, and I know I'm good. These amps, for, you know, if somebody's really, you know, there's so many amps out, believe me, and I've tried 99.9% of them. And for me to switch at this stage of my career, there had to be a reason, you know. And I love the way they look and they sound and what they do.
Well, we're honored to have you, man.
Well, you should be.
And we are.
I'm only
And we are.
I love you, Jerry.
Yeah, man. It's all good. We really appreciate you.
Well,
You know, playing the Buddhas. You know, first off, I really have to thank you for coming over and just taking the time, because there's, you know, the conditions we met you under, you know, the NAMM show conditions, everybody's running in and out, everybody pulling on you.
Well, I met Stevie D there, you know, from Buck Cherry.
From Buck Cherry, yeah.
And I knew he played them, and he was so, you know, up and enthusiastic when I came in. But you know, I sat down and played, and Jeff, there's, you know, at that NAMM show, there's a lot of companies that have little booths that you go into and you can turn up the stack. You're not going to find anything out in a booth, turning a stack up in a little 2x2 room. You know, this was at least on the floor, and it was on the aisle, it was on the side, it wasn't in the middle. And there's people talking and this and that, but, you know, I could shut everybody up at these amps, you know, it was only a 30-watt, you know. And you can also hear a pin drop. That's, you know, the dynamics. It's like a guy in the orchestra, the first chair violin. When that guy stands up, you can hear that violin jump out. When he sits down, he's in the, you know, the mix with everybody else. But these amps, all of a sudden, when it's time for solo, and you just let it rip, you know. You can use pedals, you can use whatever you want, but this thing, boy, I was really impressed, and it takes a lot to impress me, man.
Thanks, man. Your tone early on impressed me, and you know, I think it's one of the reference tones in my ear. And you know, every designer is different in what they do. Every amp sounds different, and this is my idea of great tone. And I think it was placed there early on by your tone.
Well, you know, believe it or not, I can't play fast. I use these two fingers mostly. So what did I focus on? I sat in my room with a little crappy amp, I think at an Echoplex, and just sat there and played and played. All my friends would